Brian Reynolds, followed by Phillip Evans, Anthony Alford, Tony Walters, Eric Gonzalez, O'Neill Cruz, named after Paul O'Neill, and Troy Stokes Jr. rounds out the Pirates starting lineup.
And yes, the man of the hour here in Tampa. We're going to get our first look at Corey Kluber here in spring training. And you can see he hasn't had any significant numbers for a couple of years because of a couple of different injuries. One of them was kind of a freak line drive that he took up his pitching arm. The other was a teres major injury, which is below the lat muscle, not part of the rotator cuff muscles. And I think he will bounce back nicely. In our scouting report, the Cy Young pedigree, he's a multiple winner twice in 2014. In 2017, he was the Cy Young Award winner, and a lot of it had to do with his elite slider. I mean, it's the Kluber slider. Most pitchers around the league during that time were trying to copy what he was doing out there. And if you could have one slider, well, you'd like it to be the Kluber slider. And you also feel, Ryan, this year he's got something to prove. Obviously, the injuries, he still feels like he's an elite pitcher, and he's going to have a chance to prove it on a good team. The Yankees are going to support him well. He's going to love the offense and the offensive support that he's going to get, and he's got a good chance to really bounce back this year for the Yankees.
We'll take a look at the defense behind him. Gardner, after spending a day in right field yesterday, is in left. Hickson center, Judge in right. Urshela and Torres on the left side of the infield. LeMahieu and Voit on the right. And Gary Sanchez behind the plate to catch Corey Kluber. You know, something you talked about the other day, David, in regard to Kluber was he didn't look like he was babying him in that first start. This wasn't a guy feeling his way coming back from injury. This is a guy who looks like he's locked in his normal spring routine.
Yeah, that was the early read from really everybody. I noticed pitching coach Matt Blake said that, and manager Aaron Boone, how free and easy he has looked, and the tight spin he's getting on his slider so far this spring has looked really good.
So Kluber will deal to Frazier. Second start of the spring for Kluber. Also had a 3-inning simulated game, and he deals high 1-0. Is lined into left center field. That'll get down and squirt towards the wall. Gardner will dig it out, and it's a leadoff double for Adam Frazier.
Well, Adam Frazier doing the right thing. The first fastball you see, you're going to jump on. Corey Kluber falling down 1-0, just trying to get a strike, and that's right up the gap. Split the gap for a double.
And now Kluber will face Ke'Bryan Hayes, the top prospect for the Pirates, who had an outstanding 24 games as a rookie last season. The son of Charlie Hayes. And Kluber paints a strike.
I get the feeling Charlie Hayes, his father's probably here today as well.
You got to hit him on the text, Coney, like you did the other day to let us know Ke'Bryan would be here today.
Yes, I'll find out. You know, he slipped into my DMs and let me know we were talking about him. And Charlie, one of my favorite teammates, just a great personality, good player, too, for the Yankees.
Swing and a miss, 1-2 on Ke'Bryan Hayes. Here's Ke'Bryan with his father, Charlie.
Charlie, just a great personality, great in the clubhouse. Big part of that 96 World Series championship as well.
Acquired midway through that season, played such a big role for the Yankees. As Kluber fans Ke'Bryan with the breaking ball, one down.
Well, Ke'Bryan got the 1-2 punch, the cutter previously in the swing and the miss, and this is the slider. down in the lower 80s, about 84 miles an hour. His cutter's in the upper 80s. So it really is kind of a variety of breaking pitches that Kluber features, and they are very sharp, and he can make right-handed hitters look just like that.
Here's Brian Reynolds. Down and in, 1-0. Reynolds entering his third major league season. You see how meek the average was a season ago. That was after a terrific rookie season in 2019, in which he hit .314 and finished 4th in the National League Rookie of the Year voting. He said he's not trying to overthink last year, knowing it was such a small sample size. Was acquired from the Giants in the Andrew McCutchen deal back in January of 2018. And that clips him. A hit by pitch, and Reynolds is on. Today's injury report brought to you by Montefiore Doing More. This is what David was talking about in the scouting report. Last 2 seasons, in July, his first start with the Rangers, had that teres major tear. And then in May, a freak accident, fractured his right forearm when he was struck by a line drive. As a result, he's thrown just 36 2/3 innings over the past 2 seasons. Paints beautifully there for a strike. David, you made the point in the scouting report, but how important is that delineation for you between rotator cuff and what Kluber actually ended up tearing, which is considered part of the right shoulder, but is more in that lat area?
Yeah, it's not considered part of the rotator cuff muscles, which to me is a plus. It takes a little longer to heal when you have a teres major injury, but the location is kind of around the lat, below the lat muscle. So even though it takes a little longer to heal, once it does heal, the track record is very good for those pitchers to come back at full strength, as opposed to, say, if you had a labrum injury or an injury to one of the rotator cuff muscles. Those can tend to take a little bit longer, and then you lose a little bit of range of motion, or a chance to lose range of motion in those injuries.
Hit hard right to second, should be 2, 4, 6, 3, inning over. So Kluber works around the leadoff double. Pirates don't push one across. Top of the Yankee order coming up. Giancarlo Stanton followed by Luke Voigt. Gleyber Torres off to a strong start this spring, will bat 6th. Gio Urshela in the 7th spot with Gary Sanchez, and Brett Gardner rounding out the Yankees starting lineup.
Get a look at JT Brubaker. Made his major league debut last year. Those numbers in 2020, 9 starts out of 11 games. He actually acquitted himself fairly well. I mean, his walk rate and his strikeout rate all pretty good in a short work. And you see the opportunity knocks. He has a chance to be in this rotation right now, and obviously Jameson Taillon being traded to the Yankees opens up another spot in that rotation. He does get really good spin on his breaking stuff. He's got a cutter and a slider, and you know, as you see there, you know, he's gonna have his own chance to break through here and get a good look to be in that rotation. Can also relieve as well.
He'll face DJ LeMahieu to lead things off, and a fastball strike, 0-1. LeMahieu, the batting king of a season ago with that .364 batting average. Brubaker working quickly, and it's 1-2 on LeMahieu. LeMahieu drives that to left field and deep. That ball is going to be foul. As LeMahieu flirted with a leadoff homer. LeMahieu lines that into left field. A base hit. Typical start to a game for DJ LeMahieu. Take a look at the Pirates defense. Behind Brubaker, Anthony Alford in left, Ryan Reynolds in center, Troy Stokes Jr. in right, Key Brian Hayes at third with Eric Gonzalez at short, Frazier at second, Phillip Evans plays first, and the veteran Tony Walters behind the plate. And here is Aaron Judge. Judge smokes that to right field. It was hit so hard that it hung up for Stokes to make the catch.
Well, you are right, Ryan. Just an absolute rocket out to right field. Almost rips his arm off trying to catch that ball. That's how hard Aaron Judge hits it. Looked like a line drive to right for a base hit, carried the whole way, right to the right fielder.
So here's Aaron Hicks. We've heard Meredith throughout the spring report on Hicks feeling freer now from the left side after still recovering somewhat from that Tommy John surgery a season ago, at the plate that is. We always just associate Tommy John with throwing, but it had somewhat of an impact on the offensive side of things from Hicks, and he's had no issues this spring. That ball from Judge, 105.6 off the bat. Snap throw to first, and LeMahieu back easily. The hit probability, by the way, David, on that Judge line drive, 92%. So the combo of that speed and launch angle, major league hitters usually bat .920 on balls hit the way Judge just hit that one.
So he has a right to feel a little bit unlucky.
Yeah. Stanton on deck. Getting a little scouting report from Marcus Timms. Two and two on Hicks. And that's when you're watching at home, before the camera cuts, you just say, oh, that's a base hit to right field, no doubt. And then what? Hicks gets underneath that one, pops it up towards the Yankee dugout, and that's going to be out of play.
I got a little pop culture already lined up for you today, Ryan. You know, I know we usually wait a little while to get into this.
Oh, boy, I'm excited. Is this going to be like where I have to go on YouTube and learn a little something?
You might have to look this one up. I'm not sure if you're going to hear this.
It skips away from Walters, and LeMahieu goes down to second on ball 3. All right, David, what do you got for us?
Well, we'll get another look at Brubaker here. The slider down off the top of the plate and just ricochets off the chest protector, and DJ LeMahieu can just walk on down to second base on that. But it has to do with the pitcher, Brubaker, and his last name. In 1980, there was a famous movie called Brubaker. I'm sure that you probably have not heard of it, but it starred Robert Redford. Brubaker was the name of a movie, 1980.
75% on Rotten Tomatoes, very solid.
It was interesting. Robert Redford, obviously a great actor. Prison movie where he went in undercover and acted like an inmate when he really wasn't an inmate and got inside the prison.
Baseball fans very familiar with Robert Redford from The Natural. I mean, as well as a variety of other films, but of course starring in that classic as far as this sport goes. The 3-2. Smoke to right center field. That'll get down and shoot towards the gap. LeMahieu will score. Aaron Hicks at second with an RBI double. And the Yankees take an early 1-0 lead.
It's what you're supposed to do with a fastball that's up and out over the plate. Belt high, middle away. Hicks just laces it towards the gap. And DJ LeMahieu easily cruising on in.
Here is Stanton. Yankees have had 3 straight line drives to begin this game. Judges just hung up long enough to be caught. But LeMahieu single. Hicks the double after LeMahieu had advanced on a wild pitch. And now 1-0 on Stanton. All right, David, I will watch Brubaker because I've never seen it before, and it also has the endorsement of my mom as well, who just texted, it is a great movie.
There you go, yes.
See the way the defense is aligned for Stanton. Big swing from Stanton there, fouled it straight back. Luke Voit, knee feeling all better on deck. The 2-2. Strike 3. Good run there from Brubaker to pierce back over the plate and stand down looking.
You can see the tailing action on this fastball, running back to the corner. Excellent movement. And Brubaker really needed that pitch here in the first inning.
So now Brubaker will face last season's home run leader Luke Voit with Hicks at second after the RBI double and 2 down. Voit grounds that foul wide of third. Voit saying the knee is good to go. By the way, Garrett Cole we're going to chat with in the top of the second inning, so don't go anywhere. Keep locked in here on Yes, as well as the all-new Yes Network app.
I'm going to challenge him too, Ryan, to do a little play-by-play.
Yeah, all right.
Just take over maybe an at-bat or something. Maybe give him a little shot just to take the lead.
Hey, Gardy did a nice job the other night.
Yes, he did.
Voit stays alive. Did he go around? He did not. So Voigt's still in there. 1-2 now on the Yankee first baseman. I was talking to Voit the other day about his focus coming into this season. He said number one thing he wanted to do besides coming in great shape was to calm the storm the whole season. Limit those 1-for-14 stretches. Try and find longer periods of consistency. And he talked about it as a teammate as well, said wanting to make sure he's a better teammate and that he's there for guys during the dog days of summer when things start to drag, that his personality is consistent and he can bring the energy that guys need day in and day out in the clubhouse. Swing and a miss, and Brubaker works out of further trouble. But the Yankees push one across on the Hicks ribby double. We talk with
Obviously, things have changed. In the matter of a year, you're settled into the Northeast, settled into a new home. Now you have a new baby. You know, do you feel like, you feel all these changes certainly have given you a different perspective on your craft and your profession?
I think so. It's, there's nothing quite like having a kid. That's pretty life-changing. And, there's things that I learned, from him that I can apply probably, to my daily life and probably to performance, and mainly that being patience. Patience is really key. But I also just feel more settled. I have done the commute now to the stadium. I know what time I need to leave. I know all my teammates. I know everybody around the park, and I've got relationships with them. And so there's a lot, just more clarity and less things to figure out, and more time to just, spend with your teammates and playing baseball.
Well, I'm sure you were happy to see Corey Kluber throw a nice tidy 1-2-3 inning. We could have used a longer inning with you, Garrett, but thank you. Thank you for the time here, though. We appreciate it.
All right, take care, everybody.
That's Garrett Cole, Yankee ace, joining us here on Yes. The Pirates, it'll be Gleyber Torres, Gio Urshela, Gary Sanchez here in the second for the Yanks. Corey Kluber looked very sharp in the second inning. The only issue was it abbreviated our time with Garrett Cole.
Yeah, I really wanted to challenge him, Ryan, to take a play-by-play. Take one batter and see what you got.
Torres grounds that inside third. It'll kick off the tarp. Gleyber going to round first and hang on with a leadoff single.
Another look to see Gleyber on this front door cutter. Just will have none of it. And right over the bag, as you see. The only thing that stops us from being double is the ricochet off of the tarp.
So Gleyber's hot spring continues. And here's Gio Urshela. That's been your thing this spring, David, challenging guys to a little play-by-play down there from the dugout.
It is. You know, I think there's a lot of ball players who think they can be broadcasters or even play-by-play guys, Ryan, like yourself. I mean, it's two different chairs. Being in the analyst chair that I sit in is to me, much different than being the play-by-play guy. You're the point guard. You got to keep it going. You got to cover all the business-related items. Create conversation a lot of times. So I want to see these guys, you know. Your podcast partner too, CC Sabathia too, as well. We've seen him, and he's got some interest. It'd be interesting to see how his broadcasting career goes. And
I'd love to see him do a little play-by-play.
It's a time to experiment, right? Spring training. Spring training is the time to do this.
Absolutely. We also, David, I mean, we have to give a very special thanks to Jason Zill, the Yankees public relations staff, for helping us out this spring, giving us players like Garrett during the game. It obviously enhances the broadcast, and especially at a time where we're all navigating new terrain as far as access and location goes. It's just so helpful, and we really appreciate it. As Hayes zings it across, with Torres advancing to second, one down. Here's Gary Sanchez, hitting .313 thus far this spring with 3 home runs. Fouls that one straight back and out of play, 0-1. Catches the outside corner, 0-2 on Sanchez. Brett Gardner batting ninth today on deck. Torres dancing a little bit there off second and forced Brubaker to hop off the mound. The 0-2 is outside, 1-2 on Sanchez.
Gary Sanchez batting 8th in this Yankees lineup, probably where he will be to start out the regular season as well. It's pretty close to the opening day lineup here, with the exception of probably Frazier will start in left. But what a deep lineup, man. You just can't wait to see collectively what this lineup can do if they stay healthy this year.
You've talked a lot, David, this spring about the pass the baton approach. When you have this kind of healthy lineup that's so full-bodied, no reason to extend yourself. And that was something Gleyber Torres was actually talking about yesterday, trying to remind himself not to try and do too much, not to extend out of the strike zone. Felt like he did that in 2019. He thought he went away from that at times last year. But you would think that's going to be the correct approach for everybody in this voluminous lineup.
Yeah, this lineup puts so much pressure on opposing pitchers that you need to leverage that. And that means make them work. Make them throw more pitches. Make them get deeper in the counts. Take your walks if you have to.
The 1-2. Sanchez grounds it hard and foul. Good battle here from Gary Sanchez after Brubaker got ahead 0-2. The Yankees scored in the first on an Aaron Hicks RBI double. Brubaker having a little trouble here with Tony Walters. Going to come out to the mound to try and communicate it out with a runner on second. Now, whenever we hear that phrase, David, pass the baton, which is obviously a phrase we hear often in baseball, and appropriately so in deep lineups, I think about Alex Rodriguez in 2009 in that October and how he talked about finally embracing that and it allowing him to settle in and have the success he did in that postseason. Really, truly embracing. He didn't have to do it all. He had a slew of talented hitters behind him. And we saw the incredible results that October for Alex.
Yeah, the mindset for the hitter, if he's looking for good pitches to hit and consistently does indeed get good pitches to hit, it puts so much more pressure on the pitcher. You know, the whole job of a pitcher is to get hitters to chase their pitches, to try to entice hitters to chase off the plate. And that's why we keep track of these sort of metrics, the chase rate metric. How often can a pitcher get a hitter to chase his pitch? Conversely, for the hitter, how often can he lay off of that? And that constant battle back and forth really is the game at the plate.
Good take there from Sanchez, who's now worked the count to 2-2. This has been a really competitive at bat from Gary Sanchez, fouling off several pitches after falling behind 0-2.
Well, this is a case in point as to what happens with this type of approach. Gary Sanchez batting eighth for the first time, and Brubaker about to throw his 42nd pitch already.
Sanchez grounds that to short. Gonzalez tosses across the diamond in time, so Brubaker wins the battle. 2 away. Very warm ovation for Brett Gardner as he comes to the plate with his first at bat of the afternoon. Some let's go Gardy chants. Gardner hitting .444 thus far this spring. Now Now, Gardner actually played right field yesterday, something we know he does not do often. But Aaron Boone talked about wanting to at least have that option this season and trying to find some spots during spring to give Brett Gardner those chances to settle in there. Little wave there from Gardner. It's 1-2. Over 1,300 starts for Brett Gardner. Only one in the regular season in right field in his career. The 1-2 is high, 2-2. Now, Aaron Boone actually used the example, David, of a game at Fenway Park. If the Yankees, let's say, didn't have Aaron Judge or he was resting and wanting to maximize the speed and outfield ability of Gardner, a ballpark like that might get more out of him in right field than you would left.
Yeah, it makes sense. And I have no doubt that Gardy's got the skill level to be able to handle that.
Off the bag, Karams off with Evans, and Gardner's going to be safe as Torres moves to third. Not the bag, it just took a big hop and hit off the thigh of Evans. They have not scored it yet. And they give Gardner a hit.
Some home scoring love right there.
Had it actually hit the bag, as the play-by-play guy originally contested, then that would have been reasonable. Gardy's been showing off the wheels early in the spring, too. LeMahieu powers that to right field. Stokes back, looking up. It's gone. DJ LeMahieu with a 3-run shot. His first of the spring. And the Yankees take a 4-0 lead.
You know, Ryan, you get the feeling as to why the Yankees signed him back and made him the #1 priority. Because DJ LeMahieu at the top of the order makes this line.
Reuniting after 20 years. O'Neal Cruz leading off the top of the third against Corey Kluber. All right, gotta get that suntan lotion on. Popped up, left side. Urshela shielding the sun in foul ground, makes the catch, 1 away. David, what do you think of Kluber so far?
Well, I think it's all there for him. I mean, he looks very free and easy to me. His mechanics, the way the ball's coming out of his hand, his release point looks solid. The spin on his breaking stuff has been really good and tight. The thing about Kluber is he's always been...
That ball is driven high, deep, and long, gone to left. Troy Stokes Jr. goes yard, his second of the spring, and the first run allowed this afternoon by Corey Kluber.
See, right on cue. As I was saying, he's always been a control artist. Throws a lot of strikes, and you see early in the count he does there, right down the middle, and pays the price. Kluber has never been a guy who's had a high walk rate. Really, conversely, the opposite. He's perennially over 200 innings pitched, 200 strikeouts, and less than 50 walks on average.
There's something we talked about right at the beginning of the telecast, David, but Corey Kluber himself, talking about this spring, has said feels like a completely normal spot to be in for spring training as far as where he's at right now with his body and with his arm. Said it does not feel like a spring in which I'm trying to build back a shoulder or anything like that. That's smash foul. Oof. Some great run there, maybe just a little high. 2-2. Jump to the left side. Urshela, the backhand jump throw, not in time. It'll be an infield single for Frazier. This was the one inning that Corey Kluber threw last season. Rangers, Rockies, David, and Kluber, after signing with Texas.
Strike three called, right?
One inning of work, and then was done. That was it. That was Corey Kluber's 2020 right there. Grounded through the right side. Trickles into right field. Judge will toss it in. And first and second now with one out.
Well, the good news with that injury, Ryan, for last year, as you saw that inning that Kluber pitched, it happened early. It was in his first inning. He's had plenty of time to rehab and to get over that injury, that Terry's major injury, which takes a long time to heal. But as we said, once it does heal, your arm strength usually comes back. The track record's very good for pitchers who have suffered that type of injury. And, you know, for Kluber, you got to go back to 2018 for his last full season. He had 20 wins that year and a 2.89 ERA. And I mentioned about his control, only 34 walks in 215 innings.
That ball is laced to right. Judge makes the running backhanded catch for the second out.
Just an excellent read, an excellent jump. We've grown accustomed, Ryan, to seeing Aaron Judge make really difficult plays look very easy. And the way he moves out there, just as I said, you know, and every time I see him run and move, it just never ceases to amaze me how well he does that. And at his size, how graceful he is.
I remember when he first came up, there were so many people who sort of peripheral fans becoming aware of Judge's offensive prowess, and they'd say things like, yeah, but you're probably going to have to move him to first base, right? And I'd be like, what? Have you watched him play the outfield? This guy's a Gold Glove caliber right fielder. Now, one thing he did talk about, David, was trying to be a little wiser when it comes to diving for balls and trying to protect his body. But you look at most defensive runs saved from outfielders since 2017, he's third. And look at the other outfielders on the list. I mean, these are all-world Gold Glove outfielders: Mookie Betts, Kevin Kiermaier, and Buxton. Popped up. LeMahieu battling the sun, makes the play, and Kluber escapes further trouble. Phil Nevin mic'd up from the third base coach's box. Coming up next here on Yes. Joined live by Yankees third base coach Phil Nevin. Gonna chat while he works. How you doing, Phil?
I'm great, guys. This is a lot of fun. I've been listening to you the whole game.
I love that you've been piped in on the broadcast the whole time.
No, it's like I was a kid back when going to games with my dad. We, bring the radio and listen to Vin Scully at Dodger Stadium. I get to sit out here and listen to the game. It's great.
Fantastic. Well, we can arrange this permanently for you if you want. I have to ask you this first because of the man in the box. I mean, there are a lot of ferocious right-handed hitters on this team. Do you ever get nervous standing down there?
I do. And I was thinking about that last inning if we were wired up. Giancarlo came up and then Gary came up. And I have to go down the line when there's a runner at second base. And that's when it gets scary. To be honest with you, like a guy like Judge, he doesn't hit many balls down here that way. It's just his bat path. And he almost did right there, but I mean, he chopped one over my head. He fouled one straight back that looked like it was it would have come this way. But when Gary's swinging it good, he's going to miss on this side once in a while. But going back to his at bat, I just wanted to point out that was one heck of an at bat, one that you're going to see, I hope, a lot more out of Gary this year. And one you probably hadn't seen maybe last year, carrying lengthening in a bat like that, and that's foul. But
just to give us the real time.
Yeah, just a great at bat. He saw a lot of pitches. Well, I know I don't know where you guys are doing the game from, but probably hard to see wherever you're at.
Yeah. Well, Meredith's in Tampa, but Coney is in his bar in Florida, and I am in Stamford at our Yes Network studio. So, yes, you are definitely going to be the first to know if it's fair or foul. So we appreciate that.
So Coney's just sitting in his bar, huh?
That's it.
Right where I belong, right. Yes. Yes, right where I belong.
Judge went around there. Hey, Phil, you just brought up Gary. I want to follow up on that. I mean, obviously there was so much attention about his season last year and the struggles, but he has looked so good to start this spring. What has struck you most about Sanchez and getting out of the gates here in Tampa?
Well, I think just having a normalcy of a spring training. Last year, what people don't realize is we made a lot of changes defensively with him, and we started that last spring. And to get cut short and then not have that time with Tanner, and then to kind of throw it at him in a short spring training we had in New York with really no games to play before we started the season. That's a hit. Stay fair, ball. Stay fair. Pick it up, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's still fair.
A perfectly laid down bunt from Aaron Hicks.
Yeah, getting back, and that was a great bunt, by the way. They shift a lot on Hicksy. It's something we've talked about. He's put in a lot of work on his bunting game. And it just opens up the field when you're going to have a third baseman having to play more over here. Teams are going to know that. He just did that. And if he can just get it down on this side of the field in a shift, it's going to be a hit every time. And obviously you guys know who's coming up behind him. So going back to Gary, guys, you know, the head's clear. It really is. The at-bats he's took already this spring, so impressive. I point out 2 balls really for me that he's hit. He drove a ball over the center field wall at one of the first couple of games, and then he hit one actually to right center, which, you know, we haven't seen out of him. Gary's a great hitter, more so than just a power hitter. And when he uses all fields, he's one of the best in the game.
It's popped up, foul ground, right side, and the basket catch made by Evans for the second out. Meredith?
Now Luke Voigt stepping to the plate, Phil, and he had mentioned that he wants to work on his consistency in the batter's box this year. Have you seen anything different from him as far as his approach is concerned to start the spring?
Not necessarily from my angle. I know what he's worked on. I know what he's talked about. He's saying a lot of the right things. He's just somebody that is never going to be complacent in what he does. Obviously, he had a great year last year in the short time that we played, but he wants to be a complete player, not just in the box. Nobody works harder defensively. He's out here every day working on what he does with the pitchers, his ground balls, covering for everything over at first base and his footwork. And he just missed that. But as aggressive as he is, for a big guy, it's amazing. And as far as he hits the ball and as many home runs as he's hit, his discipline at the plate, the way he controls the strike zone. I mean, we see him a lot go up there and whack at the first pitch, and then next thing you know, you got a 5, 6, 7 pitch at bat going, and that's really the case for our whole lineup. And I heard you guys talking earlier about moving, you know, passing the baton, and that one's foul again, guys.
I love how you can keep us honest, Phil. It's tremendous.
Yeah, I can tell over here. They go right over my head. So, but just passing the baton, keep having great at-bats, and something Marcus and PJ stress. And these guys, I mean, 1 through 9 do such a great job of controlling the zone, picking out good pitches to swing at, taking good swings at them. You know, take Gary's at-bat last inning. A number 8 hitter in the lineup, which Gary wouldn't hit 8 for most teams, but a pitcher got to work that much. And I heard you say, probably catch Luke in the background there, I think, but we got another inning together, right?
We do. We're going to be back together bottom 4th, all right?
Yeah.
All right. We'll talk to Phil Nevin again at the bottom of the 4th to experience our state-of-the-art streaming technology and so much more. The app really is tremendous, and we hope you all love it, and we want to hear your feedback. So please do get back to us and continue to tell your friends and family about it. And there's the QR code right on the screen. So if you haven't downloaded yet, just whoop, take your phone right up there, the QR code. Right? Got it? Bang. And now you can download the app right off that. Is that pitch up and in. Nailed Alford.
Another look, always scary when you see a hitter get hit in the wrist. We saw Yankee catcher Robinson Chirinos suffer a fracture on a similar looking play, and you can see he's going to come right out of the game, and you're going to get an x-ray as soon as you can.
Yeah. That is just always a scary spot to get hit. Alford fighting for an outfield job with the Pirates as well and having a really good spring, so it's the last thing you want to see. As Walters goes around. Kanan Smith and Jigba is the pinch runner for Alford. Nice delivery there from Kluber. All right, David, you just mentioned the Chirinos injury. Let's get the update there, as well as a broader injury update from Meredith right now. Meredith, starting with Chirinos, the latest on him.
He's going to be out for the foreseeable future with that wrist fracture. He's going to see a specialist to see if surgery will be in his future. They still haven't made a determination on that, but really frustrating for Chirinos, who felt as though he was having a pretty good camp so far. Other injuries, some good news on that injury front. Luis Severino threw off the mound for the first time since undergoing Tommy John surgery. 20 pitches, all fastballs. All reports were that he looked good, if not great. Aaron Boone said he was throwing free and easy. It was coming out hot, and they almost had him back off a little bit because he was throwing so well. They didn't want him to push it too far, but it wasn't that he was really working for it. It was just coming out of his hand that well. So they're really encouraged by what they saw with Luis Severino. I expect him to get on a mound again sometime soon. They didn't have an exact date for that, but good news when it comes to the pitching staff.
Yeah, Meredith, that is great news. David, what a delight that could be for the Yankees in the second half of the season. Talk about acquisitions throughout the year. There's nothing you could possibly acquire that would be better than a healthy Luis Severino.
Well, yeah, he is a cut above from a talent standpoint, in upper 90s with his fastball. You know, a good slider and a good changeup to go with it. I think Yankee fans remember what he was like when he was on top of his game. And looking this good this soon in his rehab and already on the mound here in spring training, that bodes well for the second half of this year.
Ooh. Wow. Yeah, Corey Kluber wanted that one, and I think for good reason.
Could have gone either way. That was right there. Excellent movement on that slider, down and in. Easily could have been called strike three.
Tap back to Kluber. Bobbled it. Still has time to collect and get one. As Smith and Jigba moves to second. And Walters retired for the first out of the inning.
Just a little bit ahead of himself, trying to turn two right there.
Here's Eric Gonzalez. That one scoots by Sanchez, and Smith and Jigba will go to third on the wild pitch.
Looked like more of the cutter variety there from Kluber. We've seen all four pitches from him today. He's got a nice, tight little cutter, an excellent slider, and thrown some good changeups as well.
Wave and a miss as Sanchez flags it down. Runner holding at third.
The breakdown of his pitches right there. He's fairly unpredictable. You know, sinkers, excellent movement on his two-seam fastball. Will throw some four-seamers. You can see the cutters averaging it up in the upper 80s. That's what makes it so effective. Off of his sinker, one pitch goes one way, the other pitch goes the other way. They come out of the same slot, and they're similar velocities. His swing and miss pitch has always been that slider. He can make right-handed batters look silly at times.
The 2-1. Grounded towards the middle. Torres will fire across. Runner scores. An RBI ground out for Eric Gonzalez, and it's a 4-2 game. Here's O'Neal Cruz, 22-year-old from the Dominican Republic, who, as we mentioned the other day, named after our colleague Paul O'Neill, as Garcia gets ready in the Yankee pen. O'Neill's father, Rafael, a big fan of Paul. Cruz pops it foul.
Well, one thing about O'Neal Cruz is he's a fantastic athlete. You know, we've watched him move, very graceful. And you mentioned, Ryan, at 6'7", playing shortstop. And looks like he's going to stick there. He's got excellent range.
As far as regular shortstops go, the tallest in Major League history have been Cal Ripken, Carlos Correa, and Corey Seager. You see the few games played by Guzman, who was also 6'7". But Cruz hoping to be a regular shortstop and would become the tallest regular shortstop in MLB history. Got jammed on this one. Popped to shallow right. LeMahieu puts it away, and Kluber with 4 innings in the books. We get to chat again afternoon in Tampa, where Yankees third base coach Phil Nevin, nice enough to join us again, is David Bednar, the new pitcher for the Pirates. Phil, you need some runs this inning because the third inning was wildly entertaining, but it went too quickly. So get the boys to score a few this inning, all right?
Yeah, we need a lot of action. We can talk more. We can holler at the guys running around third, get a handshake. We got some new handshakes on home runs this year. So.
Well, Phil, Gleyber Torres at the plate right now. He's a guy that worked a lot this offseason, not only defensively, but on the offense as well. How has he looked to you so far this spring?
Best I've seen in 4 years that I've been here, to be honest with you. I don't think that one's going to get there.
Fly ball right center is put away by Stokes.
No, he really has. Him preparedness-wise, this is the best I've seen him as far as going about his business each day. You know, I spent a lot of time on the backfields, on the infield with Carlos, hitting him ground balls, and he's really in tune. He's worked hard. His body, obviously, as you guys can see, looks good. He's really applied himself, and he wants to be a very good shortstop. You hear him talk about wanting to be in that mix of the guys they talk about, the Lindors and Correas, and he should be, to be honest with you. He's that caliber of a player, and he's starting to realize that he can be that on an everyday basis. I think we're going to see a really good Gleyber Torres this year. I'm excited for him.
Yeah, Phil, have you thought about the potential of your son getting to the big leagues with the Orioles at this point? You know, Tyler Nevin, your son, obviously a great prospect, working his way up, getting close, knocking on the door. How are you going to feel if you're coaching against your son on the other side of the field in a big league game?
You know, Coney, the other day he got an at bat against him. We hit him actually, but that's the first time we've been on the field like that together. And if it's any sort of foreshadowing of a regular season at bat, you know, Cabrian's standing 20 feet from me here, and we all know Charlie so well, and I've known Cabrian since really the draft. He was the same draft as my son, and I tell you, it'll be an emotional day. As competitive as I am, there's a volley right to him. So, as competitive as I am, obviously it won't take away from me wanting to win a game or anything like that. Just like when they were kids, both of my boys playing card games or board games, I never let them win, pool or nothing. That's just the way we were in our house. But I honestly don't know how it'll be. I've talked to Cash when I first got the job. I'm not missing my son's first big league game. Hopefully it's against us, but then I don't know how I'm going to feel in the dugout. It's, watching him just take the field the other day, it gets you a little bit, really, because you just, it's your kids, so you want them happy in life and doing things that they love to do, and he just loved playing baseball, and he's always wanted to be a big leaguer, and he's close, and if and when that day comes, it'll be special for all of us, sure.
We look forward to seeing that, Tyler, a first-round pick back in 2015, and we look forward to a Yankee-Oriole matchup and maybe miking up Phil and seeing the emotions of that day. Phil, since you've given us some insight talking about the handshakes you can have this year, who is the player on the team most likely to blow through a Phil Nevin stop sign?
That'll be Luke, without a doubt. You saw it happen a couple days ago. Luke thinks he runs like Gardy maybe sometimes, and I love him. I love him to death. He's always trying to push the limits on a lot of things, which is what makes him such a good baseball player. I'd rather have a million guys like him that you got to kind of throttle back a little bit instead of guys you got to kick in the rear, Coney, as you know. There's one. See, guys, this is the guy that gets me a lot. That's just a little chopper. If you remember one in L.A. a couple years ago, I'm standing back this far talking to the umpire, and Tom thinks I'm talking to him right now, but if you remember in L.A., he hits a line drive at me that, I figured I was far enough back. I'm agile enough still, maybe, get out of the way, and it was on me before I could even start moving. I got my hand up just in time. It knocked me down at Dodger Stadium, which is home, so I got ragged a lot on that one.
I was going to say, Phil, I'm sure they never let you live that down after they knew you were okay in the clubhouse.
No, I heard a lot about it, sure.
Well, Phil, we so appreciate the time, these 2 innings. Hope to do it again sometime, man.
All right, sounds good, guys. Thanks.
All right, Aaron Boone, Yankees manager, coming up next, joining us here on Yes. Who was incredibly entertaining.
Hello.
In the third base coach's box. And now Yankees manager Aaron Boone is going to join us. Hello, Aaron.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Doing well. You had your buddy Phil Nevin mic'd up at the third base coach's box.
Yeah, how'd the Viking do on here? Is he good?
He was excellent.
I bet.
The only shame was a couple quick innings. Otherwise, could have gotten an even longer run. Audi scoreboard, Yankees 4-2 lead. Aaron, how about Corey Kluber? His performance today as we see Chapman into the game now. What'd you think of Kluber's 4 innings?
I thought he was good overall. Not probably the command that we're going to see from him. I thought he actually had a little more power today with all his stuff. And, so he was a little more scattered. But all in all, I thought he threw the ball really well. I thought he executed a number of really different pitches, whether it was the cutter at times, the slider, both fastballs and even the changeup a little bit. I think he was a little frustrated when he came out there. He had a chance on a comebacker and a wild pitch, hit batter, so not really a run they earned. But I think overall a really good day's work, and to be able to get through 4 today, another good building block for him.
What have you seen from Tyone thus far in his starts this spring?
Man, I mean, we continue to be really, wow. That's gross.
That's the split?
That's gross right there. That thing, wow. Gary's giggling. Stokes is telling the other team, like, what was that? 90-mile-an-hour knuckleball.
Oh, my goodness.
JMO's been great. I mean, he's completely come as advertised, just makeup off the charts, and he's come in feeling so good. Every test he continues to pass, whether it's getting here, getting integrated, getting in his bullpens, his live BPs, his progressions now in game. He's pitched with runners on base, and what we're seeing is the really good Jameson Tyone stuff. Obviously a cleaner delivery now, a shorter arm stroke. We've really seen his fastball, especially yesterday in Lakeland. His fastball, he was behind in the count a little bit yesterday because he didn't have real consistency with his breaking ball and his secondary. But behind in the count, really, his fastball was really playing up in the zone, and that was really encouraging. And to finish yesterday's outing off with a really good breaking ball, I just think he's in a really good spot right now as we get through the middle of spring training.
Well, Aaron, since we just saw your reaction to that just disgusting splitter from Aroldis Chapman, I mean, how confident do you think Chapman's going to be using this during games, and how much are you and Matt Blake and Mike Harkey going to be emphasizing it being a part of the repertoire on a regular basis for Chapman?
Yeah, very much so. As he skies one off in foul territory on the left side, Gio slips into a warm bath and makes the play.
Tremendous.
No, I'm really confident. It's something that's really he's messed around with for the last couple of years, and then integrated a little bit towards the end of last year, and it absolutely plays. The profile of the pitch is excellent, and what we've come to realize, especially as he's worked on it through the winter now and made it part of his mix, and now here into spring training and brought it into games, is not only is it profile is a really effective pitch, but it's a pitch he's got a really good feel for, actually. And I absolutely think it's going to be part of what he does this year.
Yeah, Aaron, we talked to, you mentioned about, Zach Britton going to be down for a few months. And does it necessarily mean that you're looking at another lefty to replace him? I know Litke's been impressive along with Lyons. I mean, are you looking at the lefties to kind of replace him, or is there another dark horse in contention?
I would say, honestly, there's a number of guys in contention right now, and there's a lot of different ways we can go. Whether you prefer like a longer guy that can legitimately give you some length, whether it's a guy that you feel like can, be really effective in one inning. So, no, it's absolutely not a priority that it's left or right-handed for that matter. We're looking for the best guys, and that fits our roster the best. With a lot of our pitchers, you think about like Greeny and are really, technically more effective against lefties anyway. So I feel like we have a pretty good balance already in the pen. And with Chappie and Wilson, that's two lefties already. So we'll go with the best guy.
Aaron, thank you for the time. As always, we appreciate it.
All right, guys. Take care.
Just saw shots of Kluber and Chapman, who both have actually pitched in this one. 4 innings from Kluber, a 1-2-3 inning from Chapman. And now Gardner tops that one foul, wide of first. Jeff Hartley, the new pitcher for the Pirates. I mean, David, because we just saw it, and we saw Aaron Boone's hilarious reaction to it, I mean, how exciting is that splitter for Aroldis Chapman?
Well, it's a new weapon, a new toy, and for a pitcher, especially one that's been around a little bit, there's nothing more exciting than learning a new trick of the trade. You could see Chapman is in love with it, and the movement and the shape on this splitter so far this spring is much improved from what we saw last year, and what we saw last year was pretty good. So without a doubt, he's got a new weapon. He's anxious to use it. We will see quite a bit of it, especially against right-handed batters.
Gardner singled and scored his first time up. And he cuts and misses there at a high breaking ball. Wanted to check to see if it was in the zone. 1 down. LeMahieu single to left his first time up. A 3-run homer to right his second time up. And as we had a rollover inning right after this swing, David, that ended that second inning. And just as it was occurring, you were starting to talk about how, yeah, of course the Yankees needed to bring this guy back. It's obvious why he was priority number one.
Yeah, I pulled a Paul O'Neill on you. Paul does that to Michael Kay every now and then, where he'll just take it right to break and just walk all over the play-by-play guy. But it was a rollover inning. In case of that, there's a couple Twitter exchanges there wanting to know what happened. That's the rollover inning.
And the rollover inning. Just to let people know real quick, David, the rollover inning, if a pitcher gets to a certain pitch count, the team's going to agree to just end the inning and roll to the next one, regardless of number of outs.
Yeah, that's what happened. And of course, you understand, usually when you sign a big free agent for a team, it's usually somebody that's brought in from the outside who wasn't here already. But for the Yankees, it was retaining DJ LeMahieu. That was the #1 offseason priority, and rightly so. The structure of the contract, I think, was really interesting, that the Yankees were able to spread out the dollars over six years. And thus give them a little more room to maneuver as far as staying under the luxury tax.
This little cutter there from Hartlieb as LeMahieu down, looking 2 away. We mentioned earlier about Aaron Judge wanting to dive a little less. Let's take a listen into the Yankees right fielder talking about that very thing.
If I can get a better first read, a better first step, that might help me, not have to crash land into the wall at the same time, So it's little things I've been working on with Reggie Woolitz. We've kind of talked a little bit in the offseason, a little bit now since we got into camp, just working on just certain things with footwork, just a quicker first step. If I can get a quicker first step and maybe get to some balls I don't have to dive for, because, my big body, 275, diving, for 162 games, man, it does a lot of wear and tear, but I think it comes back to just playing a little smarter.
Judge maturing, has gone through many a year now in right field, has dealt with injuries, and obviously the Yankees want him on the field as much as possible. If that helps, everybody is going to be for it as Judge grounds out to end a 1-2-3 fifth. From Chapman. By the way, you have the Yankees app. You could watch the piping hot Brooklyn Nets tonight after watching the Yankees today on it. Go wherever you want. You got it right on your phone. Lofted, foul, and into the seats, 0-2. Whoa. That is, that's being literally masked up for the game. You got your surgical mask, and then you got a catcher's mask. And a souvenir.
He deserves it. He earned that ball today.
Fly ball, right field, and deep. Judge looking up, and it is gone. Brian Reynolds goes yard, a solo shot off O'Day. And it's a 4-3 game.
This is something that O'Day's been pretty good at not doing for the majority of his career, is giving up the long home runs, and you can see that kind of upshoot slider stayed on the plate just enough for that ball to get over the fence. You think about Darren O'Day's career, Ryan, and it has been kind of quietly under the radar, really solid career. 2.51 ERA and over 600 games appeared in. And doing it from that style too, Ryan, from Laredo down south. His sidearm slider almost has a little upshoot to it, almost like seems like it has the illusion of rising. at times.
14th season, an all-star in 2015. Has plenty of postseason experience. And 12th among active pitchers in career games pitched in. Fought off, foul. Sanchez will watch it go into the seats. Now, that was a lefty who hit that home run, David. But while O'Day is obviously more difficult against the righties because of this motion right here, the Yankees do also look at him as an option to get lefties out. He's a guy who has had success against lefties as well, even if he's more devastating against righties.
Yes, he can get inside with that kind of upshoot slider I just mentioned, and can change speeds too, down and away. One of the things about O'Day that's so impressive is that you know what you're going to get. He's going to dominate right-handed hitters like that right there. He can get lefties out too, as you mentioned, Ryan. His career whip at 1.02. It's just remarkable. He does not walk a lot of batters. Throwing sidearm, mixing up the break on that slider. He still throws a lot of strikes.
Like that. Last year in 19 appearances had a 1.10 ERA. Righties were just 7 for 49 off him. Lefties 1 for 10. Smith and Jigba traded from the Yankees to the Pirates in the Jamison Tyone deal. And one of the other things that Brian Cashman said about O'Day, David, was that the Yankees and Cashman himself got amazing feedback on O'Day, his character, locker room guy, from Zach Britton and Buck Showalter. Strike three, caught him looking as that scraped across the outside corner.
Well, yeah, 8 years as a Baltimore Oriole. Yankee fans have seen him a lot and seen him do this a lot, right to the back door with the slider, just to show you the kind of command he has on that pitch. That's his signature pitch right there, and he can throw it to both sides of the plate. And the break he can vary the break on that pitch as well.
Tony Walters takes low, ball one. Paints the outside corner again to a lefty. Chad Green also scheduled to throw this afternoon for the Yankees. Justin Wilson as well. Kluber went 4 innings, allowed 4 hits, 2 runs, no walks, 2 strikeouts through 54 pitches, 36 of them for strikes.
Well, so far so good, Ryan. Yeah, as you mentioned, with Kluber and also Jamison Tyone. I mean, when they came in and after the deals were made in the offseason, it was Well, you know, you hope they can stay healthy. And what are the early returns? What are the signs? So far, so good on both of them. They both are healthy. Their stuff is good.
That is going to be a strikeout. You don't see it often, but every once in a while, Walters swung and got nailed. DJ LeMahieu's 3-run homer the difference right now as Sam Howard, the lefty, comes on for the Pirates. Andrew Susac in to catch for Tony Walters after he just got hit with that pitch from O'Day, but swung and missed, so it was strike 3 to end the top of the 6th. Hicks flips around to the right side and takes ball 1. An RBI double and a bunt single for Aaron Hicks thus far today. And we had Phil Nevin, Yankees third base coach, on live when Hicks laid down a perfect bunt for a bunt single. David, I thought it was interesting that Phil said that's something they've been talking with Aaron a lot about, and if there is that dramatic overshift when he's batting from the left side, something Hicks is prepared to do more of, as that's backhanded beautifully by Hayes, who will throw Hicks out.
You know, another thing, Ryan, that there are doubles there to be had. If you can get a little mustard on that bunt and get it down the third base line, down to the outfield grass a little bit, that's a two-bagger waiting to be had.
Go a little slap softball style with it. Stanton's check swing has an exit velo of like 95.
Yeah, it does. Just anything that touches the bat and leaves quickly from him. You know, Ryan, one of the best I ever saw doing that, we were talking about bunting, or, you know, a little abbreviated butcher boy, we used to call it. It's the late, great Tony Fernandez, former Yankee shortstop, Toronto Blue Jays shortstop. He was great at that. He would walk up in the box a couple of steps and kind of a half bunt, a little bit of a slash the other way, and boy, he was a magician with the bat.
Yankee fans, of course, listen to Phil Rizzuto talking about Butcher Boy all the time on Yankees telecast. Phil was such an incredible bunter himself and would always break down Butcher Boy. He would come down to spring training and always wanted to teach guys how to lay down a proper bunt. Chopped towards the middle. Gonzalez tosses out Stanton, 2 away. Here's your guy, Coney.
That's it, exactly. He was always a threat to do that. And obviously tragically passed away over the last year at some point. A really underrated
Little League home
player.
run there.
Yes. All the way around.
That was off of Jack Morris.
Come on, Mike.
Tony, of course, the Yankee shortstop right before Derek Jeter took over. Mike Ford's first at bat of the day. Boy, Luke Miller, our our associate director, he must still be getting sleep despite the new baby, because he pulled that Tony Fernandez Butcher Boy unbelievably quickly. As Ford grounds out to end the inning, a 1-2-3 frame for the Yanks. We go to the 7th. Yankees 4, Pirates 3. Here on Yes and streaming on the Yes app. Nets have won 11 of 12, and it was their loss against the Pistons when they last played that really sparked change for this Brooklyn team that's now playing as well as anyone in the NBA, as Justin Wilson deals ball 1. Wilson struggled the other day against the Pirates, allowed 5 runs in his 1 inning of work. Painted the inside corner perfectly there on Gonzalez. 1-2. Strike 3, got him swinging. Gonzalez fanned by Wilson. Well, we were just talking Phil Rizzuto, David.
The one and only legend. I mean, not only a Hall of Fame shortstop, but a Hall of Fame broadcaster, too. I mean, for generations of fans listening to his voice.
Won an MVP, 7 World Series. He was the Yankee broadcaster for 40 years. Inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1994. You're right, David. You have a generation or two of Yankees fans who did not see Phil Rizzuto play, but had unbelievable affinity for him and were huge fans because of Phil as a broadcaster.
I'm just going to take a wild Gale studio and, and broadcasting remotely like we are right here. He would have avoided the bridge traffic. No bridge traffic. He wouldn't have had to leave after the 7th.
Wouldn't have had to say, Cora, I'm headed home.
Exactly. Could have had all the food and all the cannolis right there in his house. Could have had everything lined up. Never have to leave.
Just low. Like you with your martinis there in your bar in Florida.
Not far to go.
Count full on O'Neal Cruz. Popped up. Left side. Torres. And Urshela there. And it's Urshela who makes the catch on the deke from Torres. Here's the Coney bar.
Right behind this. Right over here, Ryan. I left you hanging the other night. I know you tried to high-five me the other night. You know,
yeah. Did you want to do it again?
I'm sorry, I missed you. I didn't mean to leave you hanging. I was trying to make you a drink behind me here.
Look, if you're asking me if I have an option of a high five or a drink, I'll take the cocktail. So no apology necessary. We can go for it now, David. You ready?
Okay, here you go. Yeah.
Boom. Yeah, there we go.
Close enough.
I think it counts. One and one on Stokes Jr. It was incredible to me after the other night how many people said to me, "Oh, I didn't realize you guys were sitting right next to each other."
Right.
Well, no, that's why my hand disappeared. But the technology is amazing. The 1-2. Smoked foul.
You know, Paul O'Neill got a T-shirt, Ryan, last year for his Studio 21. He had this in Cincinnati. He had it all. You know, it was a big deal. O'Neill Studio 21. I got a speakeasy here. I'm a speakeasy working here, so a little different than Studio 21. But I want a T-shirt too. I'm calling RotoWear. I want a T-shirt too. Coney Speakeasy, right here.
And you know, Paul has a whole Studio 21 banner in his setup this season, so it's coming. Yeah, that basically
right there.
should say Coney's Bar, but as part of your setup.
Exactly. You know, I plug RotoWear all the time. Love them. Great company.
Urshela across his body, not in time. As Stokes is safe, reaching on the 2-out infield single. Well, these are the kind of angles that Carlos Mendoza has talked about. You know, just those tests for Gio Urshela when it comes to coming back from removing the bone chip in his elbow, throwing from all the different angles that we see Gio throw from. Fought off into shallow left center, a base hit for Frazier. So 2 on, 2 out. Keep Ryan Hayes coming up for Pittsburgh. And if I know RotoWear, Coney, that Coney Speakeasy shirt, it's coming.
It's already being designed, probably. Yes.
G1 Bay running for Frazier at first. Hayes takes just inside, 1-0.
You know, it's hard not to get excited about Ke'Bryan Hayes, and I know we're a little bit biased because we know his father so well, Charlie. But what he did last year gave the whole franchise a lift. And it's a small sample size, you know, acknowledged 85 at-bats last year for Ke'Bryan as he broke in, but his triple slash line, Rooks, 376, 442, and 682 on the slugging percentage. And that's just an incredible breakthrough. And, you know, I understand it's a small sample size, but 5 home runs and those 85 at-bats, plays a great third base. It's a type of prospect, the type of player that you can build a franchise around. He's a cornerstone.
Rip that, just foul. Well, you mentioned the glove, David. I mean, that was really sort of the ticket that got him up to the big leagues. This is a guy who won 3 straight minor league gold gloves at third base between 2017 and 2019. And then put up those offensive numbers you just mentioned so impressively as a rookie last year. The 1-2. Nice looking swing there from Hayes. How about the play his father made in your return?
Everything he's had to go through.
In Oakland in '96, David.
Charlie could do it at third base. He had a great arm, outstanding hands. He could pick it. You know, that year we had Wade Boggs as our third baseman, but Wade was, you know, towards the end of his career, and getting Charlie Hayes really solidified third base for us that year.
And he helped save the no-no at that point in the game. LeMahieu makes the call and the catch as Wilson wiggles out of trouble to work a scoreless seventh. We're going to hang right here. Yankees leading 4-3 after 6.5. It's time for God Bless America.
Taking time to honor Master Sergeant Paul Dahl of the United States Air Force. Master Sergeant Dahl is a flight chief aboard the KC-135 Stratotanker refueler. He recently returned from deployment, where he flew 55 missions, completing 371 combat flight hours. He's presently stationed as part of the 6th Air Mobility Wing at McNill Air Force Base. The Yankees say thank you to him and to all of our brave men and women for their sacrifices and service for our nation. Well, ladies and gentlemen, at this time we ask you to rise and remove your caps for the playing of God Bless America.
Max Kranick into the game for Pittsburgh will face Gleyber Torres, who takes a ball 1-0. Heard Phil Nevin tell us earlier, Gleyber Torres, in 4 years seeing him in the spring, this is by far the best he's ever seen him physically, mentally, and Torres is going to reach there as Cruz could not handle the backhand. Should be another hit for Gleyber Torres, his second of the day. And that'll end the afternoon for Gleyber. Urshela fouls that away. Oswald Peraza running for Gleyber Torres at first. As Urshela loops that behind first. And it is going to drop for a base hit. Peraza. Oh no, Peraza is going to be thrown out at second on the fielder's choice.
It's an impossible read for Peraza.
Yeah,
right.
Did he start heading back? Yeah. He started heading back to first big time.
I don't know any other way you could do it there. I mean, you're taught to maybe go a quarter of the way and watch, but you're so close to the bag.
Andrew Velasquez running for Urshela, moves to second as Deglin grounds out. Chad Green getting ready to pitch the 8th for the Yankees. There's Ryan Lamar. Big swing there, 1-1. A reminder, if you haven't yet, make sure you get the brand new Yes app. You can watch Yes live wherever you go. Kranick added to the 40-man this year to keep him out of the Rule 5 draft. An 11th round pick in 2016 by the Pirates out of high school. Some interesting headgear to go with the mask there.
Yeah, that's a look.
Hey, do whatever you want in your head as long as you're wearing the mask. Three and 2 now on Lamar. Greg Allen on deck to pinch hit for LeMahieu. LeMahieu's 3-run homer, the difference right now on the scoreboard.
Ryan Lamar now kind of, I guess you'd consider him more of a veteran backup type outfielder here in camp, getting a shot. 32 years old.
Driven to right field and deep. Going back, Mitchell looking up. It is gone. Ryan Lamar making the most of that shot. A 2-run homer to right. And the Yankees lead is 6-3.
Good swing. Nice moment, Ryan, for Mr. Lamar, who's, as I said, at 32 years old, past the point of being a prospect. Certainly needs to break through or is in kind of a backup role trying to open up some eyes here in Yankee spring training. That's a good way to do it when you shoot one the other way. 10 years in the minor leagues.
Spent time with Cincinnati, Boston, Oakland, Minnesota, Chicago, White Sox, and back with Minnesota in 2019. Spent 76 games at the big league level in 2018. Allen slaps that to center. Catch is made by Swaggerty. Had Green on for the Yankees. Struck out the side in his spring debut on Wednesday, which started with a strikeout of Swaggerty, who leads off here in the 8th. You know, David, we saw how sharp and the depth on Green's breaking ball the other night. I asked him about it yesterday. He said the thing he liked best about that first outing was the control he had of the breaking ball, that he could bounce it when he needed to, but just the overall confidence and feel he has for it right now. That's a long run, and it's going to drop in right field as Brito couldn't get there. Ezekiel Duran ran about as far as you'll ever see a second baseman run into the outfield in pursuit, but couldn't quite get there.
He did cover a lot of ground. Maybe heard footsteps too.
So a perfectly placed double from Swaggerty. That ball is hammered deep and out to right. A two-run shot for Castro, and it's a 6-5 game.
Well, it's a good strategy. Look for a first pitch fastball on a pitcher that you haven't seen before, but that you know throws a lot of those. Start your swing early and run into one.
So Green gives up a bloop double and then a two-run homer after striking out the side in his spring debut against Pittsburgh on Wednesday. Tap to the left side. Velasquez throws on to Ford. One down. Talking with Chad Green last night, David, I asked him, what was the biggest focus for him getting ready for this season, and he said this offseason he just wanted to get as many reps as possible off a mound so that he wasn't trying to feel his way through spring training and then trying to hone in a more consistent delivery right out of the gates here in spring.
Well, you hit the nail on the head earlier in talking about Chad Green, Ryan, in terms of Yankee fans who've watched him. We've all watched him pitch, and he's been so good as a Yankee. But the last piece of the puzzle is the command of that breaking ball. A good-looking one right there. And as you said, one that you can get out of the strike zone and get swings and misses like we just saw, and then one that you can drop in there for a strike at will, too. And it takes a lot of pressure off of your fastball. So the overall command of that breaking ball is really the last piece for Chad Green, and so far so good this spring.
You've talked a lot, David, about the Rapsodo, Edgermatronic cameras, the different machinery that the Yankees have when it comes to analytical tools in the gas station, and you see the pitch breakdown from Green last year. Well, his curveball and the shape of it and trying to get the release point right is a product of using those tools. Just after each and every pitch, and then try and duplicate those that had the ideal shape and form and spin that he wants for that pitch. Something he worked on a lot last year and has continued into this year.
Yeah, what that does is develop confidence. And for any athlete in any sport, confidence can be fleeting. And we've seen Chad Green in the past kind of give up on his breaking ball. He'd try a couple in his outings in the past and then go right back to the fastball and become a little bit more predictable at times. But it looks like he's really committed to it this time and does have good spin and good shape and good command so far. I mean, do you have the confidence, Ryan, to throw it bases loaded against a powerful hitter in a 3-2 count? Time will tell.
Knee buckler there, just high. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Yankees and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Yankees. 3-0, pumped in there for a strike, 3-1. Missed with a fastball there and walks Hunter Owen with 2 down. Let me ask you this, David. I mean, in order for you to actually consider a pitch part of your repertoire, did you have to feel like, I will use this pitch in any count, in any moment?
Yeah, that's the last phase when you're incorporating a new grip or a new pitch into the equation. Is that when you have duress, you have a jam, you're in the middle of a real game. Can you drop it in there for a strike? Can you get a key strikeout with it? One of the things it can do when you have a curveball like we just saw him throw is that it can get you back into a count if you fall behind against a really tough hitter.
Another good looking one.
You can see this spring he's very committed to it. That's why we're seeing him throw so many of them. But not only is this a swing and a miss, that's pretty close to being in the strike zone as well. So that's, to me, the marker. If you could throw a good breaking ball that would have been called a strike and still get a swing and a miss, that's high quality.
The 0-2. There was the fastball, and Cruz late on it. The 0-2. Cruz was able to hold up on that high fastball. The 1-2. Stuck with the fastball again as Cruz fouled it away.
You know, we mentioned it in our last broadcast, Ryan, with regards to Pittsburgh in the future. And obviously the draft is in July this year, and they do have the #1 overall pick. And, you know, it bears repeating that that's going to be a very important pick for them. And in actuality, they have 4 of the first 73 picks in this year's amateur draft.
Went to the curve there to get Cruz to flick it into shallow center. Catch is made by Allen to end the inning as Green has escapes without any further trouble. Yerry De Los Santos with some very impressive numbers in the minor leagues back in 2019. David, when we show the minor league numbers, obviously we're showing them from 2019. No minor league season last year. That's why Socrates Brito at the Pirates alternate site in 2020. How do you think you would have dealt with that if you're a developing prospect and you just had a year without, you know, your normal development opportunities and competition?
Yeah, that might be one of the worst things for all the organizations to contend with.
Brito drives that to right field, and it is gone. Off the foul pole, Socrates Brito goes yard, and the Yankees up their lead. It's 7-5.
Too bad we didn't have Phil Nevin mic'd up for this one. He could have called it early for us. But that's smart hitting from Socrates. Right off the pole.
I see what you did there.
Kept it fair.
Here's Ezekiel Duran. Again, you see his minor league numbers in single A back in 2019. But yeah, David, you were saying you think that might be one of the most difficult aspects of organizations dealing in this pandemic world.
Yes, without a doubt. I mean, it's the backbone of every organization is the development of your talent within the organization. It's not only the developmental time, but the evaluation time as well. You know, I would say, Ryan, that, you know, I'm a little biased because the pitchers really need to throw. You need that work. You need those innings. They're more susceptible to injury and trying to bounce back to a full season this year.
That one is going to be booted at third, and Duran is safe. Well, you know, speaking of the minor leagues, here in 2021, David, there are going to be some significant experimental rule changes. Low A is limiting 2 pickoff attempts per plate appearance. High A, pitchers must step off the rubber to attempt to pick off. Double A, all 4 infielders must be positioned on the infield dirt. And Triple A, larger bases, they go from 15 by 15 to 18 by 18 with a less slippery surface, trying to encourage more running, more stolen bases.
I like the base idea, a little bigger. We've seen players slip on those bases, especially when it gets wet out. So yeah, I'm all for experimenting with bigger bases and, you know, maybe a better traction for the safety of the players. I understand about the pickoff rules and trying to initiate running, as you mentioned, Ryan, trying to get the stolen base and some action back into the game. I'm not sure if that's the way to go about it. If you restrict how many times you can throw to first base, you become very predictable. Whether it's one or twice during that bat is the only time you can throw over to first base like this. Once you've done your allotment, then the runner has a tremendous advantage because he knows that you cannot pick him off anymore. So you can get a bigger lead and just take off.
Yeah, the way they're trying to help mitigate that becoming a problem is you can pick off again, but you have to get the runner. As Duran is going to be nailed here. And a good throw from Susak, the former Giant. Throws out Duran.
From his knees.
Yeah.
I think the first catcher I saw do that was a guy named Benito Santiago. It's a great young catcher. San Diego Padres, I think, Rookie of the Year 1 year, but he was the first one I saw throw from his knees like that.
Like 4.
Three Gold Gloves in Benito Santiago's career, a 5-time All-Star.
He was fun to watch. He would stay low, and he'd really drive off of his knees. He would use his knees as leverage and really get a lot on the throw.
Three and 2 now on Bro. You know, David, just to finish up that rule, so once you throw over the 2 times, you can attempt again, but you have to pick the runner off. If you don't, it's a balk, and the runner is awarded second base. So the interesting part of that is, if you're the runner over there, you know pitcher's thrown over 2 times. You start to get your lead, knowing that they probably don't want to throw over again. But you go too far, and they do throw over and pick you off. That is allowed. Top to second. Bro is retired. 2 away. Let's send things over to Meredith Marakovitz, catching up with Yankees reliever Justin Wilson.
Justin, overall, what did you take away from today's outing?
I thought I was a little closer to getting to where I need to be to break camp. We got some time left. Just some location stuff that I thought could be better. Clearly, it was better than the other night, my first outing, but yeah, just another building block along the way.
When you say where you need to be, what needs to happen to get you where you need to be?
Just a little bit sharper. You know, I felt like a couple of the misses I had today could have been better spots, really. Some things before we get out of here.
With Zach Britton out for a while, does that change your approach at all?
Not my approach. It might change when I come into the game a little bit, but no, not my approach. You know, I think we stick to our strengths quite a bit, and that's where I'm confident at.
What do you think about the depth as a whole of the bullpen?
I mean, it's outstanding. You know, there's some guys that might not make this team that would be front and center of a lot of other teams. So that just, you know, shows how much depth they have here.
Justin, thanks for the time.
Thank you.
Well, Justin Wilson, a scoreless outing to Yankees, a 7-5 lead on the Pirates. A game started by Corey Kluber. We've seen Chapman, Darren O'Day, Justin Wilson, Chad Green, and now Luis Cessa on in the 9th to try and close things out for the Yankees. An RBI double from Aaron Hicks got the Yankees scoring started. A 3-run shot from LeMahieu. Ryan Lamar, a 2-run homer, and a solo homer from Socrates Brito. And that is the scoring for the Yanks. Cal Mitchell rolls it to first. Ford tosses to Cessa, 1 down.
Yeah, and to start it all off, you know, as we talked about in the pregame, and Meredith Marakovitz covered it as well, you know, Kluber was sharp to me, even though maybe his fastball and his command wasn't midseason form, but the spin on his breaking stuff is all the way back. And, you know, you can measure that, too. That's just not me eyeballing it. The numbers are there. The sharpness on his cutter and his slider are there. The spin rate is there. I fully expect, you know, Kluber to be back and ready to go when the season starts.
We heard Meredith ask Garrett Cole when Garrett joined us in the second inning about the Yankee rotation and just how good does he think it could be, and Cole smiled and said, I'm pretty bullish on it. And we've seen Kluber now, David, as well as Tyone with strong early returns this spring.
Strong early returns and swing and miss stuff.
Popped up, right side. The call and the catch made by Ezekiel Duran. And the Pirates are down to their final out. Here's Mason Martin. Showed a whole lot of power at single A in 2019. Right to short. Peraza throws across high, and Martin reaches as the game is extended.
Plenty of time, shows off the arm, just launches it a bit.
So an E6 extends the game for Travis Swaggerty. Just a tremendous last name.
There is some names in this game, right? Socrates, Swaggerty, Ezekiel.
Can get philosophical and biblical all at once.
Exactly. I'm waiting for a chance to drop Ezekiel saw the wheel, but I just didn't see it today. I'm waiting for a bump play, maybe, the wheel bump play. But he was looking up in the sky quite a bit today, so we could have used it.
You'll have your chance for Woody Guthrie at some point.
There you go.
One strike away, the 1-2. Goodbye. Beautiful breaking ball that throws Swaggerty, and Sessa ends it. 7-5 the final as the Yankees take down the Pirates this afternoon in Tampa. We'll come back.